everybody, Peppermint here, and welcome back to another episode of the Anomaly. Last episode, holy crap, that was awkward. If you didn't see that episode, you should watch it because Valerie's nudes. Valerie's nudes. That's all I'll say. We did get to do some more hacking too, so that was cool. But I'm eager to jump into this episode and see what happens next, so let's continue. I grabbed Kira's arm and hurried us down the hall before anyone could reply. It had been an amusing afternoon with the gang, but dipping out before tensions flared up anymore seemed like a good idea, especially with Kira tagging along. Well, that was entertaining. Yeah, I'm sorry about all that. Are you kidding me? That plot twist was gold. See, I'm like Kira. I just like the drama. Like, I don't get involved in the drama myself, but I'll sit back and laugh at everyone. I don't mean to poke fun at Valerie, but I don't think I've laughed that hard in, like, ever. I guess she kind of brought it upon herself. I'm just sorry that we couldn't really give you a good example of the hacking stuff. There's not really that much involved when it comes to just getting through phone security most of the time. Nah, don't worry about it. I fiddled with my phone a little bit, but that was pretty sweet back there. It was pretty basic stuff. It depends on the phone, but most of the older ones aren't too hard to root and then screw around with. It's possible to add extra layers of security, but your average lock screen isn't really that tough to bypass. Just takes a little practice. I have no idea what you just said, but I'll take your word for it. Either way, it was pretty cool. Well then, the best is yet to come. Once Ethan calms his tits, we'll hang out in the shed and show you some real hacking. Is he the, forgiving type? Not really, but I've known the guy for years. He'll get over it, don't worry. If you say so. What about Valerie? I winced at the reminder. Ethan was a little more durable, but Val wasn't a pushover either. It wasn't anything new for us all to be poking fun at each other, but I had to admit that things may have taken a harsher turn today. Yeah, when it comes to someone's nudes, that's a little much. I mean, revenge porn is a crime in most states, I think, so people take their nudes very seriously. I was still trying to comprehend the craziness that had just transpired. Hopefully Valerie wasn't too upset. Ross kind of deserves a punch in the face. Valerie's tough. She'll be alright, I think. Alright. Well, either way, you've got a cool little group of friends. I chuckled at the comment. I didn't disagree with her by any means, but in light of the craziness that had just transpired, I didn't exactly expect Kira to so quickly take to the group and their antics. It took a huge weight off of my shoulders, knowing that I had no reason to separate my interactions with Kira and my friends. I guess I should have taken her word for it when she told me that it wasn't that easy to scare her away. I'm glad you think so. They can be a little crazy sometimes, but they're really awesome. I'll admit that I was a little worried what you'd think of them. Well, truthfully, I was sort of worried about how my first day here would go too. What do you mean? Kira looked down in thought as we moved through the school's front doors and out into the waning sunlight. It was hard to decipher her pensive expression, but as the light washed over her hair and pallid skin, there was a moment I couldn't have cared less. I tried my best not to stare, but it was hard not to. There was a more vulnerable air about her as she considered her words, eyes distant as she found herself lost in the past for a moment. Well, I've moved around a lot because of my dad's work. It's not easy switching schools so often. I blinked, trying to adjust my focus to her words instead of just staring at her like an idiot. Right, I can imagine. How many different schools have you been to? Hell, I'm not even sure. 6? No, 7, I think? Wow, you weren't kidding. That does sound like it would be pretty tough. I've known guys like Ross and Ethan since I was a little kid. I mean, part of me thinks that it would have been cool to get out of this little town and see what's out there, but I don't know. The two of us started down the sidewalk. It looked like our walk home shared the same route for a moment. I glanced towards Kara as we walked, another pause and distant look telling me that she was considering her reply carefully. It hasn't been easy. I'm not gonna lie, I've enjoyed it sometimes. I've been all over, I've experienced a lot, but it's hard not to wonder how things would have been if I was able to stay put, you know? It would be nice to have some real friends, some sort of roots, I guess, like what you have. I took a moment to choose my words instead of giving a snap reply. We both had exactly what the other dreamed of having. I was on the inside looking out, and she was on the outside looking in. I could tell her she was lucky to look on the positive side of what she had, but no matter what I said, I didn't really know what I was talking about. I guess I don't really know. The grass is always greener on the other side, right? Either way, you're here now. There's no reason you still can't have what you want. Maybe. The cheerful, upbeat girl from before was gone in an instant. She wasn't acting gloomy or depressed, but her expression was empty. She kept her eyes away from me, the look on her face completely impossible to discern between sorrow, boredom, or anything else. I tried to give her some space, but it was hard not to wonder exactly what was going through my new friend's head. We walked in silence for a while before I finally mustered the courage to speak up again. Hey, well, maybe tomorrow we can get into the shed to show you the hideout, yeah? She replied with an unenthusiastic shrug, still not bothering to look in my direction. Dang. What happened? Yeah, maybe. Her response still didn't tell me much, but it didn't seem like the best time to push her, so I quieted down again. After a minute or two, she stopped at the intersection we came to, looking down one of the streets, to me, and then back again. I'm this way, so is that the first time she's changed her pose? I didn't even know she had another pose. That's okay. That's weird. Right, I'm this way. Haha. We stood in uneasy silence for a few seconds. It was this sort of awkwardness that I expected earlier in the day. I didn't expect it quite as much now, but there wasn't a lot I could do about it. I gave her a dumb smile as she looked back to me, unsure of what to say besides goodbye. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Uh, Before I could even finish the sentence, the girl caught me completely off guard, taking a step forward and hugging me tightly. Oh, she's caught feelings in one day. I stood in shock for a good 5 seconds before gingerly wrapping my arms around her in a nervous embrace. I had no idea what was happening, but her body felt warm against me. It wasn't a bad feeling, which made it equally as sudden and jarring when she let go and slipped away just as quickly. See you. And with that, she was gone. I watched her hurry down the sidewalk, quickly disappearing around another corner and leaving me in a state of confusion. What was that? All day I worried about how to interact with her, how to make a good impression and avoid any awkwardness between us. And all day it seemed like I had nothing to worry about. Once we were alone, though, a different side of her came out. It meant a lot that she opened up so quickly to me about her life and feelings about things, but her strange silence made it seem like she regretted sharing those thoughts with me. I didn't know how to make her feel any better about it, and before I could even try, she hugged me. Why did she hug me? It wasn't that sort of weak, friendly hug that you give a family member you barely know. It was deep. I could still feel the squeeze of her arms around my body. It was a real serious hug. You're overthinking this, Tucker. Jeez. I shook my head, continuing off towards my house. It was just a hug. She was just being friendly. Hell, she probably did it just to shut me up and get me off her back. It was hardly my fault that she delved into deep thoughts about her life and past, but that didn't change the fact that it was probably way more than she meant to tell a virtual stranger. She put herself out further than she meant to, and odds were that she just hugged me as an easy apology, just to shut me up and get me away before things got even more uncomfortable. I don't think so. I sighed, rubbing my face and trying to calm my thoughts. Whatever had just happened, whatever it meant, it was pointless obsessing over it and trying to figure it out. All I could hope was that things would be back to normal the next day. Considering I'd only known her for a day, it was hard to say what normal was, but I'd find out soon enough. I tried my best to shift my thoughts to something else as I walked home, but it was a futile effort. I'd known this girl for less than a day, and she already had wormed her way into my mind to absorb my every conscious thought. The more I thought about it, the more it scared me. The more I realized that I really needed to put things into perspective. I had more to worry about than a moody girl who I hardly knew the first thing about. Yeah, I would say that's a red flag. You've known her for a day and she's already showing her baggage. Not Probably not somebody you want to date. Just my opinion, but whatever homework I brought home from school ended up thrown haphazardly across my desk before I face planted onto bed. It probably wasn't a bad idea to occupy myself with something else, but it was just impossible to focus. And we didn't even get her digits, man. We didn't even get her cell phone number. I closed my eyes and buried my face in a pillow, fighting with all of the obsessive and negative thoughts that refused to be silenced inside me. It was stupid that something like this could overwhelm my waking thoughts so easily, but the harder I tried to avert my attention, the harder it was to keep her out of my head. This is ridiculous. The sun dipped below the horizon, darkness falling over my room, and sleep hit me soon after. I awoke feeling more tired than I did when I laid down, blinking through crust in my eyes and a kink in my back. It took me a few groggy moments to realize I had passed out with my school clothes and shoes still on, looking as unkempt and disheveled as humanly possible. I groaned and rolled out of bed, my eyes going to the window, then the clock at my bedside. If the darkness didn't tell me it was way too early to be awake, the time on the clock affirmed it. 5:14 a.m. Awesome. I sighed and ran my fingers through my messy hair, trying to wake myself up. My night was riddled with dreams, replaying the events of the previous day in a myriad different ways. I slept more than enough, but somehow I didn't feel like I had gotten any sleep at all. My head hurt with fatigue, and my jaw hurt from grinding my teeth. It looked like I was going to be obsessing about this whether I liked it or not, conscious or asleep. Let's stalk her Facebook page. We can totally hack into it, find out all her dirty secrets. The pile of homework stared back at me as I got to my feet and glanced over at it. I begrudgingly acknowledged that I'd woken up more early enough to get it done before school, but it could wait. My mind and body needed a nice hot shower to pull me back into the world of the living. The hot water did a better job than anything else to wash away the nagging thoughts hanging upon me. It wasn't a magic fix to everything, but by the time I pulled myself out of the shower and got dressed again, I had gathered enough focus and willpower to sit down and knock out some of my homework. It was nothing exciting or glamorous, but it managed to keep my mind level for a bit. The buzzer sounded on my phone and pulled my attention away from a math assignment I was working on. I picked up my phone and pulled up a text. Val, hey, let me know when you're awake. I typed in an immediate reply, hardly opposed to the distraction. Math wasn't my favorite subject at all. Um, do I actually reply? Oh, okay, just click on it. Just finishing up some homework while I have the chance. Had an odd night of sleep. Dang, you're up early for once. Dreaming of you know who? Something like that. Not like you think, though. I don't even want to know, lol. No, I was dreaming about you, Val. You and your nudes. You wrapped around in your scarf. Oh, God. She seems a little shady, though, honestly. That's actually why I texted you. I friended the message. What? Val, you're problematic. Uh, she didn't even do anything to you. Like, I'm the one that should be saying she's shady, not you. Shady? What did she mean? What are you talking about? Well, it's not a big deal or anything. I just decided to do a little snooping. Oh my god. Go on. There's really nothing, though. That's the thing. As far as the internet knows, Kira Vinter doesn't exist. Okay, well, if we're gonna be real here, I don't have any social media. I don't have a Facebook. I used to have Instagram, but I deleted it. I don't exist on the internet either, other than as Peppermint Latte. So that alone does not make a shady person. But in terms of this game, it probably means that's not her real name or something like that. What do you mean? There's nothing at all when you look her up? Nothing. I mean, I understand people who don't touch social media and all that, but you would think there would be something. Maybe from her old school? I don't know. Anything? Okay, that's true. Like, if you knew my full name, of course you could find out, like, what high school I went to and stuff, so. Well, she said she moved around a lot. Maybe she never stuck around long enough for them to list her on anything. I don't know, man. It's just kind of weird. I'm sure it's nothing, but someone's gotta watch your back. LOL. Well, thanks for that. Next time I need a professional internet stalker, I'll know who to call. Alright, next time you can look out for yourself. I'm just playing, relax. I've gotta get this stuff done though, is what it should say. So I'll see you at school. Okay, see ya. I set the phone down and leaned back in my chair. Kira Vinter didn't exist, huh? It didn't strike me as anything that noteworthy, but it was still a little weird. In this day and age, if you were alive and breathing, the internet usually had something to say about it. It wasn't completely impossible for someone to not really show up in web searches, but it was fairly uncommon not to find anything whatsoever. Against my better judgment, I spent the next hour or so checking things out for myself. I trusted Valerie's efforts, but I still wanted to see with my own eyes. Sure enough, all I ended up doing was wasting most of my morning looking for something that wasn't there. The idea came to my mind that Kiera was some sort of nickname, maybe her middle name that she went by, but even white page directories didn't pull anything close. I couldn't find a thing. I glanced at the clock before finally discontinuing my search. I told myself it really didn't matter, but it was a little frustrating to come up without any results whatsoever. I sighed and got up, spending the next few minutes getting ready for school. As annoying as it was to come up empty-handed, I figured that getting to know the girl the old-fashioned way was the best way to go about things anyway. It was never my intention to spy on her, but I couldn't argue with how handy social media pages were when it came to finding out someone's quirks. I mean, I don't disagree. She's definitely sketchy. Just, in real life, that alone wouldn't be enough to make me question someone. I went to the kitchen and scarfed down a bowl of cereal before rushing out the door, thoughts of the mysterious girl still pervading my mind. If Kira liked to keep things hidden from the eyes of the world, I just have to figure them out for myself in person. My walk to school was spent dwelling on the same nagging thoughts, not so much focused on Kira's lack of presence, but more so the confusing events of the previous day. As much as I told myself it wasn't worth obsessing over, logical thinking didn't have much of a place when it came to thinking about girls. I kept reminding myself that I'd only known her for a day, and I hated that the old cliches were affecting me just as much as they would any other, but all I could do about it was move on and keep figuring things out. Hey, you! Kira's voice sounded out behind me as I made my way up the steps to the front door of the school. I turned around and replied with an absent-minded wave, still lost in my thoughts. She offered a bright smile as she caught up to me, but it turned to a small frown as she noticed the faraway look in my eyes. You alright? You look like something's bugging you. Nah, I'm good. Just still trying to wake up, that's all. How about you? I shook my head, playing things off with a smile. Something was definitely bugging me, but there was no way I was going to admit what was on my mind. I'm good. Same, I guess. Heading to homeroom? Probably not. I was actually going to skip it and finish up some homework in the lab. Ah, mind if I tag along? I won't bug you or anything. Feel free to bug me. I'm not too worried about the homework, just skipping a pointless class. Gotcha. I don't think anyone here would miss me anyways. Not yet, at least. Might as well play hooky as long as no one's really paying attention, huh? Pretty much. Shall we? We went inside and made our way from the lab. It struck me as a little strange how she was acting completely normal again, but there wasn't much I could say or do to express the awkwardness of things. Maybe things weren't awkward at all, and I needed to ignore last night's events. Maybe I just needed to chalk them up to her being moody and move on. It wasn't easy to write things off like that, but there weren't a whole lot of options in front of me, and bringing things up again when everything seemed perfectly fine didn't sound too appealing. Neither of us said anything as we walked down the halls, dodging students going about their morning. Whether she acknowledged it or not, I could still tell that there was something more going on inside her mind than she let on. There was something behind her actions yesterday, clearly, and she wasn't in a rush to explain it. Until she wanted to or felt comfortable doing so, there wasn't much I could do, I'm guessing that should say, besides be patient about things. Maybe it wasn't a big deal, maybe it was, but either way, I wouldn't know until she decided she wanted me to. I dug into my pocket for the key to the CS lab as we approached the door, but the sound of voices inside told me it was already unlocked. Kira raised her eyebrows towards me, and I shrugged in reply before nudging the door open and peeking inside. It was already a full house inside, and the eyes of my 4 friends fell upon Kira and I as we slipped inside. Alright guys, so I'm gonna end the episode with that. Man, this demo is pretty long so far. I don't actually know how much we have left. Well, I guess the story is picking up a little bit in the sense that Kira is a very strange girl, and there's probably some kind of mystery surrounding her, but other than that, we still don't really know much. So, once again, I am eager to see where this goes. I guess right now we're just learning kind of about the characters and the dynamic of their friendship, which, you know, is important to making events later seem more important. So it's a little slow right now, but I'm sure it'll pick up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and if you did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day!